We're doing a massive reality check on the machine learning engineer. We're going to deconstruct one of the most hyped up, booming careers on the planet right now to find out what it truly takes to succeed. Okay, let's kick things off with a staggering statistic straight from the 2026 PwC Global AI Jobs Barometer. Get this. Right now, global hiring for AI specialists is accelerating at an absolutely unprecedented pace. We are talking about growth that is 8 times faster than hiring for all other jobs. To put that into perspective for you, while a lot of other tech sectors are going through painful hiring freezes or even layoffs, AI specialists are practically being hunted down by recruiters. Companies are pouring immense, almost unthinkable resources into the people who build, run, and optimize these systems. The market demand isn't just strong, it's astronomical. But there's a huge gap between the glamorous social perception of this role and the actual daily grind. People often picture the Silicon Valley tech pioneer having world-changing epiphanies over a cup of artisanal coffee. But according to the 2026 Robert Walters Salary Survey, the reality is a whole lot more grounded. The top skills actually in demand for these roles include deep data analytics, navigating mountains of complex regulatory compliance, and driving agile integration across older, clunky corporate systems. So instead of just inventing the future all day, a lot of your time is spent cleaning up messy data pipelines and filling out compliance paperwork. It's highly structured, rigorous, and, often pretty tedious work behind the scenes. However, because those daily tasks are entirely digital and cloud-based, the lifestyle perks attached to this role are practically unmatched. Machine learning engineers perfectly embody the International Bar Association's definition of a digital nomad. Since you can log in from anywhere, you rely heavily on the internet to perform your work remotely, and that allows for true multi-local living. This grants a level of autonomy that totally rejects the traditional 9-to-5 fixed office environment. You aren't tied to a cubicle or a dreary morning commute. Your office is quite literally wherever your laptop is open and the Wi-Fi is strong. And this isn't just some theoretical perk either. Looking at 2026 data from Boundless HQ, you could legitimately execute this highly demanding role while enjoying extreme remote flexibility. Just imagine finishing up a complex data integration, snapping your laptop shut, and walking right out onto a beach in Costa Rica using a Rentista visa. Or maybe you'd prefer to base yourself in Portugal on a D8 visa, or soak up the Mediterranean lifestyle in Spain on their digital nomad visa. This career allows you to completely optimize the trade-off between your cost of living and your quality of life on a truly global scale. Which brings us to the next vital piece of the puzzle, the AI skills earthquake. Now, what's really fascinating here is how the exact skills required to survive in this highly technical, nomadic role are fundamentally transforming right beneath our feet. As the technology evolves at this breakneck speed, the capabilities that make you genuinely valuable as an engineer are surprisingly enough becoming more and more human. According to MIT's EPOCH framework, which is featured prominently in the PwC report, AI is rapidly lowering the barrier to entry for basic coding and routine technical tasks. So, to avoid being automated out of your own job, your technical abilities have to be paired with 5 distinctively human-centric skills: empathy, presence, opinion, creativity, and hope. Think about it like this. You need empathy to understand how your algorithm might negatively impact a specific user demographic, right? You need presence to effectively collaborate with non-technical stakeholders who don't speak a word of your coding language. Opinion gives you judgment in ambiguous scenarios. Creativity sparks original thinking, and hope, well, that encompasses the leadership and sheer grit you need to push through massive project failures. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why those human skills matter so much right now. The data shows that newly added tasks in AI-exposed roles are 2.5 times more likely to demand these intensely human capabilities compared to the least exposed roles. The machine can easily write the boilerplate code, sure, but it absolutely cannot navigate the nuanced trade-offs of data privacy or lead a frustrated, burnt-out development team through a tight deadline. So let's talk about the hard numbers on the paycheck, because for a lot of people considering this path, the tangible financial payoff is the main draw. Looking at the Robert Walters data for technology professionals, the compensation is incredibly strong. A mid-level machine learning engineer is pulling in an average of $110,000. And there is a very clear, highly lucrative trajectory right ahead of you. If you can actually master those human leadership skills we just talked about, transitioning into an AI CTO role averages $190,500, with some fractional or highly specialized executive roles reaching up to £250,000. Yet in stark contrast to that massive paycheck, there is a hidden layer of profound burnout. The Robert Walters survey reveals that a whopping 62% of technology professionals feel their pay still does not accurately reflect the intense work they do. You have to ask, why are people making over 100,000 or even £250,000 feeling so deeply unsatisfied? Well, despite the high salaries, there is an overwhelming sense of fatigue and a feeling of being totally undercompensated for the sheer, unrelenting mental load the job requires today. To really understand that underlying stress, we have to explicitly categorize the machine learning engineer as a professionalized job. Unlike a democratized job where AI lowers the skill barrier, which is what a standard software developer role might soon become, in a professionalized job, AI automates away all the easy routine parts. This forces you, the human, to constantly operate at maximum expertise, judgment, and creativity. Imagine going to the gym and every single lift you do is your absolute 1 rep max. You never get a warm-up, you never get a light day. That is exactly what a professionalized job does to your brain. You never get a break with the easy tasks anymore. You are only ever solving the hardest possible problems. And the data from PwC completely backs this up. Now, this professionalization is actually a massive net positive for your long-term job security. Greater AI exposure in these specific professionalized roles actually links to headcount growth and a 42% higher wage growth since 2021. You aren't being replaced by the AI, your role is just being elevated to focus entirely on deep expertise and strategy. It's highly rewarding both financially and intellectually, but let's be real, it is undeniably exhausting on a day-to-day basis. So let's move to the roadmap and see how this builds into an actionable strategy. How do you actually pull this off? If you're listening to this and want to secure your future in this field, these are the explicit next steps the PwC data suggests you need to take right now to survive and thrive in the AI era. Because AI is handling the entry-level drudgery, your early career timeline has completely compressed. A decade ago, you might spend 5 years cutting your teeth on basic tasks, but today, that luxury is completely gone. Step 1 is accepting that you'll largely skip the basic repetitive tasks that used to define a junior role. Step 2 is actively building those human-intensive skills, the empathy, the presence, the communication. And step 3 is absolutely critical. You must develop senior-level capabilities incredibly fast, commanding AI as a tool and a partner literally from day one. And here's the harsh reality check of this career path today. Because the easy work is automated, entry-level machine learning engineers are now up to 7 times more likely to need traditionally senior leadership skills just to break into the industry. Just imagine sitting in your very first job interview, right out of university, and they expect you to demonstrate the strategic vision, the team building, the people management, and the data-driven decision-making of a 10-year veteran. No pressure, right? But that staggering expectation is the new baseline. Which brings us to our final verdict. We've seen the incredible remote flexibility, the potential to work from the beaches of Costa Rica, and the reality of a massive £110,000 average salary. But we've also seen the relentless pressure of a professionalized role where you can never turn your brain off, where entry-level jobs demand senior-level leadership, and where burnout is rampant. So I leave you with this to consider. Is the massive paycheck and the nomadic freedom truly worth the immense daily pressure of having to constantly outlearn the very artificial intelligence you are building?